Hey guys, John here. Today we're in Diva and we're using the Mona skin, and today it's to make a nice nasty acid ARP with the MS-20. So we can start off using a preset. Go to the search icon here, and in templates we can go to MS-Rev1. Go ahead and select that, and let's go back to our sound here. Now by default the sustain comes in all the way down, but which is fine. We're gonna get there anyway, but let's put it up for now. And this is what we have. I know, super exciting, right? So basically right now we have VCO level 1 just at 5, and that's going to be a saw wave. So let's link in a square and drop this down by 1 octave and see how this sounds in the mix. Okay, so we have something nasty here, so let's drag down our cutoff and give it some modulation with envelope 2. And we need a lot of resonance or peak in this case. Okay, now let's tile in our timing here for our envelope. All right, we're starting to get to the nastiness. Now let's turn on our ARP, go to maybe 2, something like that, and 1/16. So we're already starting to get that acidy stuff. Now let's bring our sustain all the way down for our amp envelope. And dial in a good sound. And for this, I kind of like to use the digital ones here. Let's go to that for the both one and select S curve for both of these. And from here, it's really dialing in how low you want the cutoff and how much modulation from the second envelope that we want. Okay, so we're getting somewhere here, so let's go for our first effect and let's go to chorus, and for this let's change this to classic, increase our depth here and reduce our rate and kind of dial back the mix a little bit. And what might also be nice is to add a second voice, so let's click here for the second voice, and as always let's pan the voices just a little bit, go to stack index and kind of pan these a little bit. Maybe something like that. Okay, so we have a little more work to do. Let's select another effect and go to delay. And as always, I'm really happy with this delay that comes by default. So let's leave this here for now. I don't think we need some extra center here, but maybe we can come back to this a little bit later. So now we want to do some extra processing as we've been doing through the week. So the first one we're going to be using is pre-1973 from Arturia. And let's go to a default preset and kind of just dial in a little bit of EQ here. And this is really to taste how much you want to low cut this or high pass this. And let's get out some of that mud here. Maybe some of that stuff. Where there's like a blanket over the sound. And we really don't have to cut out too much, just a little bit. Give it some nice top shelf. Make it sparkle. And let's see what we can do with this band over here. So we have a little bit of a clean sound here, and let's go to type 2. And maybe since we're here, we can do a little bit of extra input gain and kind of back off our output trim. So there we're getting some fuzz here. Okay, so we just want a little bit of that there. So now let's do some compression and turn this bad boy on and go to the comp Diode 609. Let's go to a new preset and let's see what we have here. Yeah, so that's about good. We're kind of looking for negative 4 dB of gain reduction. And for this, maybe 3:1 is kind of fine. And attack 25, and then release maybe 400. Maybe 100. And let's add our makeup gain, so +4. See, we're entering that almost Mortal Kombat kind of acid techno, right? Oh, these patches are so fun to make. Okay, so for the last icing on the cake, if you do have these effects here, we can use the DIST OPAMP-21, which is kind of nice. Let's go to a new preset here. And really, there's not much to do with this one because it sounds kind of good out of the box here. So we had a little bit of drive and some presence here. And maybe a little bit treble boosting, and then this one's kind of nice here, where it says on the bottom here, produces a warmer tube-like sound. Now, I love distortion and distorted sounds, but if that's a little bit too much for you, you can always back off the drive a little bit. So really the point to drive home is that Diva is great, obviously, we all know this, but using some external processing can really bring the life out of Diva and really make it shine. So if you don't have some of these extra plugins, you can always use some different EQ and compression, and maybe your default or your favorite distortion of choice. This is just kind of what I come with here, because I kind of wanted to go with the analog kind of vibe and kind of see what we would come up with. So something like this. And if you like that movement here, the thing like this, you could just use an LFO and do the same thing because you have another modulation source on the cutoff, so it's very possible to do. So for this one, I think I'm going to call this the Mortal Kombat ARP, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of dumb, though. Mortal Acid ARP. Maybe that's cooler. Mortal Acid ARP. Okay, if you want to get the Mortal Acid ARP, there's a link in the video description below. And I think we've covered everything so far. Man, that sounds nasty. And keep in mind, especially with the MS-20, you can always change the revisions and see if anything sounds a little bit better to you. That's actually kind of cool right there. So yeah, that's pretty nasty there. So without this here, we would sound like this. It's good, it's a little bit too clean, and then we go to... It just sounds nasty right there. And last but not least, we should add a little bit of reverb to this here with the Valhalla Vintage verb on a dirty plate. Because, yeah. God, I love the MS-20. Okay, so if you want to get the Mortal, what do we call it? The Mortal ARP, I guess? Okay, the Mortal ARP, whatever. If you want to get this patch, there's a link in the video description below. Hopefully you learned something, and thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.